Okay, so detailing some of the progress made in the game. All jitters have been taken care of. So yeah, we took care of the jitters. There's no jitters now. I might show it on a CRT today just to show that. I don't know how well that's going to come through on the camera, but I can show that there are no jitters in the game at all now. I've done some changes to the code, which I can detail quickly. I'm going to try to make this kind of a quick video. I don't want it to be a really long video today. My videos are long. I don't know why my camera is so kind of tilty going on there. Okay, alright, I think this is probably good. So, changes in the code. I've moved around things a little bit. Let's see here. Now the mode selection is in the very first bank, along with the music block, which I'm calling M block, which goes through and changes music notes for each of the songs. This gives me enough room. I have 627 bytes left in bank 1. That's probably enough for 1 or 2 more songs. Also, I've moved the verses, or not the verses, let me see here. The background settings. These are the lists for background settings, and I've added an extra background, and the way I've set this up makes it so that I can add many more backgrounds. I could effectively add several more backgrounds, maybe up to a dozen or more different unique backgrounds. I don't think this is blurry. I've added a 6th background. I've changed another background, and I have, like I detailed in the last video, used PF heights for more than one background. That way I could free up one. Now, usually the way I do PF heights is I'll leave the thinner single pixel rows to something as a background object, like maybe the lines in a street or just smaller details. But I knew when I wanted to make the bonus round that I needed to come up with PF heights in the foreground that are thinner. The thinner, higher detailed ones for the foreground. So to do some methods, I took L6 here and began to work on the bonus scene. So now up in my first bank are where the detail settings, because what was happening is the bank where I kept my background definitions, the playfields themselves, was maxed out. And I realized, well, these 2 rows of the definitions for the colors and the ball and the score background and stuff, those didn't actually need to be right there in that bank with the playfields themselves. By removing them it freed up room in bank 5 for more playfield. So as you can see, there's about 627 bytes. I don't know if you can even read that, but it's at the bottom. There are 627 bytes of ROM space left in bank 1 and 622 left in bank 5. That's probably enough for a handful more backgrounds. So yeah, I want at least maybe 10 backgrounds or so. Some of the details of each of the verses and the single mode settings here have changed. The collisions have been changed to be slightly more precise, and I've taken them out of each of the movements because that's going to free up space. And I think that was part of the jitters. It was coming in and saying, oh God, I have to check collisions every single time anything happens, and that was really eating up space there, eating up cycle time. So now we're in the backgrounds, and that's probably getting blurry, the animated part. Now what I've done is I've started working on the bonus round, and as you can see here, if that's even coming in, I'm going to scroll here to get as much visible code on there to see if it's not freaking out. But about right here, this is a car. Now the way the top of the car right here is, this is stretched out because these are thinner playfield pixels. This is actually going to be squished down. But then the bottom here, these are each slightly larger because this is layered. I have 3 different colors to choose from for the image of the front of the car. So I'm going to go ahead and show that now, the bonus scene. When I go up here to show it, I'm going to say L6 to show my scene. I'm just going to put one character up there. And then, so I'm going to leave out the right side character, because when you do your bonus scene, there isn't going to be a second character on the screen. And then I'm going to get past my character selection screen here. So now this will pop up. I'm going to go ahead and pick a second song just to have some variety. I had the song turned up so you could hear it. There we go. And this is a song from the Sonic game that I made. I'll go ahead and see if I can't get this dialed in slightly. So you can see, hopefully, that this is kind of a car that he's standing next to. That car is done with playfield pixels, and it makes me want to use something like that for a racing game, like use the playfield pixel for, now of course I can go through it. That's not going to be how the bonus round, this will be a cutoff point on the screen, and then I'm going to make it so you can jump up onto the car, so he'll actually be up on it, and then you can land over here, and there'll be a middle point somewhere around here that engages the mirroring, and you can beat up this car. And I might have a second car or some other, I want a different type of bonus. I had considered maybe like a, the way they have the bonus scene in Samurai Showdown, where these little, whatever, tatami wrapped looking kind of bamboo target puppets pop up and you have to slice them, or just some kind of cool bonus. I want to do that. Maybe, I don't know, another car would be easier, because then I could just draw another car and throw it in there as another bonus scene, but a more unique bonus scene I think might be preferable, so that there's more variety. So yeah, here's the car. I might change the colors. I don't know how. I haven't tested this scene on a I haven't tested this scene yet on a television, but I like how it looks. We've got it's meant to be maybe a building or a garage or something, and I still haven't decided on. I like these colors, but I'm not 100% on the colors. So yeah, and if you've noticed, this would take some fine attention to detail, but Ken there's hair is longer now. If you can look at the back of his head, he has the long hair on his model there. So I'm going to go ahead and change the background quickly to my favorite background, which is L4. And I'm going to go ahead and add an opponent. We'll go ahead and add, we'll add the ninja. Why not? Because you've seen a tiny bit of them. The boss characters are going to be dark ninja. Okay, there we go. Now we got the helicopter blade spinning. Ken has hair now, as you can see. And we have this really fast, intimidating dark ninja character. He's going to be one of the bosses. I've considered, after you beat the game, unlocking them as playable characters. Just add some extra incentive there. But Ken's hair is long, and also, let's see, I think that was 3. 1, 3, let's see if it's 5, I think, yeah, 5. The Oni character, who was inspired by Akuma, now has no headband, and he has, you know, he looks different. He's kind of, his neck is thicker. I think he looks maybe slightly stronger. So as you can see, even when he squats down, his neck is thicker and his hair is different. And so there have been some minor adjustments to distinguish the 3 different Ryu clone characters from each other. So this would be kind of the Oni, or like monster, ogre, demon, devil, whatever Japanese translation you want to pick for him. He looks slightly different now. So there we go. And then of course, to kind of show the difference here, there we go. There's the traditional Ryu character, Ryu clone dragon in this game. Okay, now to show a quicker comparison, I'll go ahead and revert to the title screen mode and just zero out everything and put my character select variable back to 0, saying to him, hey, go to the title screen, and this will make the title screen have a different song because I didn't change the song back. So there we go, and I'm going to hit the select button. Okay, so now here's Ryu. There's the Oni character. Actually, I'll go ahead and reset it so that the names pop up for the single player mode. There we go, Dragon. Should go the other way actually. Let's see. Dragon. There's Master. As you can see, his hair is slightly longer and it's blonder. I've worked with his color palette to get his hair as blonde as I can. And there's the Oni character. See? There we go. So yeah. And I'm considering, if I can, possibly changing her hair. Maybe make it poofier or bigger somehow. Maybe make her look slightly more different than just a recolor of her. I've gotten the missile placement patterns down so that they don't really cause problems. And that was actually a deal right there, trying to get that to work. I'll go ahead and detail that really quick like here. Let's see if I can't get this zoomed properly. Okay, so to detail each of those missile sprites so that they don't drive it crazy, I went ahead and I added a variable to control the X and Y locations of the missile sprite. Now this helped because now to the system, the missile's already there, but a variable is plotting it, and it takes some of the weight off of it. So now the variables for the missiles are right there with the players. as you can see here. Missile 1 X equals variable 21 and variable 22 there for X and Y. And then as I go up here to plot the missile placement, like I said before, each of the variables controlling the moves are going to be applied to the sprite, which will then be put in the main, under the main label for the sprite. That way there's less or no extra labels after that. So here's one: if D equals 2, D equals 4, those are characters. D, 2, and 4 are characters, and those don't use extra missiles. But as I go up here, one of the characters that uses the missiles will have several definitions for the character. Here's one. So here we have missile placement for ninja character fill in. Now, if D is greater than or equal to 5, so 5 and 6 both use the same missile placements because they're both ninja, but one is dark and one is light. And so you have the strip there of the, and of course we have variable 20 and 21, or 21 and 22 controlling those. Okay, and you can see that they each have different adjustments. So, in case you're not familiar with what this means, the missile, each sprite has its own corresponding missile. In the multi-sprite kernel, the missile cannot have any change in height. It's 1 pixel wide, and it's tiny. Okay, you don't really have any control over it. It's just a dot. That sucks. But you get tons of extra sprites to use by sacrificing those missiles. Whoop-de-doo. In this particular case, because I'm not using any extra kernels that would eliminate a missile or change it in any way, I get missiles where the height can be controlled. As you can see here on this this first sprite there, missile 1 X equals variable 21, missile 1 Y equals variable 22, missile 1 height equals 14. That means that the missile's height is 14 pixels high, and then up above it are all the placements for the missile itself. And so you can see that it says on the first line, if D is greater than or equal to 5, that's saying if it's the dark or light ninja, and variable 20 equals 0, meaning no attack is happening. Variable 20 is the attack variable for player 1, and H equals 0, that's the reflect bit is in its first position, meaning that the first player character is being reflected because they're on the right side of the screen. Then variable 21 equals variable 10 plus 3. So variable 10 is the player 1 horizontal variable, the x-axis where they are, and so it's saying, oh, whatever your number is, go ahead and add 3 to it. So it's putting the missile 3 pixels to the right of wherever the character is, and that's, you can locate that missile anywhere. They actually suggest this in the manual. They say, oh, well, if you want, you can use the missile for extra stuff. Maybe I think they say the brim of a hat or a background detail, maybe your character's nose or something. You can just, if you're not using it for a bullet or a missile, or some kind of, object, and it can be used for lots and lots of little things. You could put it all over the place. In the case of this game, I'm using 4 different instances of draw screen. I could effectively use 8 different dots on the screen, put wherever I want. Okay, and actually, because each character is called out twice in those 4 different instances, if I wanted to move them around and allow them to flicker or shimmer a little bit, I could have 16 different dots on the screen. But I don't do that. In this game, I'm not doing that. In this game, the missiles and the ball, the playfield ball, are used for additional details and also for the attacks themselves. So this will come into play later when your character punches or kicks, because that 8 pixel wide sprite is not wide enough to have the arm extend beyond the sprite. And so what will be extending beyond the sprite is a missile that's the same width as what their arm would be, and then up to an entire sprite width, 8 pixels wide, past the body. And I'm going to start with 2 pixels wide and then move it, or start with 4 pixels wide and then move up to 8 if I need to. Chances are 4 is going to be okay though, because you know, it wouldn't look right, I don't think, if your arm was the entire length of the width of your entire body. So just a little room is enough. Now for a game where the characters are much, much smaller, suppose your character is 16 pixels tall, you can probably fit whatever attacks are going on within that 8 pixel wide limit, and then you wouldn't have to use anything to extend. So because I'm using relatively large characters, 32 pixels tall or less, then of course I need to tack something on there. So these will be feet when the character kicks, arms and fists when the character punches, possibly fireballs, projectiles, the flames when Terry Bogard does his special move, possibly the comb attack from Guile, or the fan attack from Mai. Okay, so the missiles are very important. They have to be in there. So for the bonus scene, the ball is actually being used as a door and a window that are up on what's supposed to be like a building or a garage or something. I was going to use it for a license plate, or possibly as debris, and I still might do something like that. I might go in there and change it so that there is stuff flying off the car when you beat it up. And then I'm going to do different phases. Probably the last bites of Bank 5 will be for the different phases of the car's destruction in the bonus scene. So when you're punching that car, it's going to have different phases of breaking apart as you're punching on it, just like the original game. So bonus scene is, now this is for the ninjas. If I go up to somebody with more modifications, here we go, this is for that's the blocks, D block, C block, B block, and A block 2. Those are the second instances that apply to player 1. Okay, and those are now in the bank with the players. That way, not just, it doesn't just save space for whatever bank, but it also cuts back on the bank switch changing, the bank changing go-to. Now it's not leaving the bank for the go-to. It's just, it's within the same bank, which cuts back on cycles. It speeds up the whole process. Okay, so there's only one instance of Go subs now in the entire game. Remember, if you watch this from the beginning, nearly everything was a Go sub to begin with, and it was all coming out of the first bank to Go sub out to grab the sprite data, to grab the playfield data. The only Go sub that happens now is part of the music, and that's it. The music timer and counter and stuff and all that Go sub to the data where the duration, the note in the duration pattern is, and then it takes that data back to update the music. That's the only Go sub that's happening in the entire game. So all of those grossly huge cycle-consuming bank switching Go subs are all gone now. So as you can see, this is go-to. It's not a Go sub. Everything is a go-to now except what has to be a Go sub. Here's the blonde version of the character. Her name is Angel, and all of her little additions. This is when she's just standing there for her abdomen and her hair, I think. Here's when she's walking. It updates with the walking pattern. Squatting and jumping, flipping. Okay. 16 equals 1 is the flipping variable there. So, but Ryu at first, the Ryu clone, actually didn't have any of them attached to him, but except for his instances that were part of Guile or the girls. So just for him himself. But these are for him now. So Ryu 2 has Guile's hair, but also now Ken's hair, and who I'm calling Akuma, which is Oni. His hair moving, ducking, jumping. Now Oni because he has a thicker neck and because the headband is eliminated, he needs these in there. Now later on when the moves happen, it might be slightly harder to get those same effects, so we might see some sacrifices being made there. Okay, now this is the second block or the first block, I mean, D block, C, B, and A. Going out to go to the graphics definitions, and instead of go subbing and then bringing back the data, there's a specific place for the sprite to go after the go-to goes there. So we'll say, oh, if it's A1 or 2, 3, or 4, then go to this place afterwards. So this is ready. This game is, all I need to do is plug in the moves, put the hit bars up at the top of the screen, and it's going to be ready. So I'm going to go ahead and put, let's see, we'll put Angel up there, and put this to play here. We'll change the song to, why not, we'll put it on 3. I don't even remember what that is. So this is bypassing the character select screen. This is choosing a different song. This is choosing the level to look at. This is choosing the left side player. The right side player won't be present. And we're back at the bonus screen. So yeah, this car is drawn with PF Heights playfield pixels. The door on the right side of what would be the building is a ball. It's a playfield ball, and the window on the left side there is a playfield ball. The ground is actually the background color, except for what the character is standing on. The character is standing on one color of playfield pixel rows. The car is made by carefully balancing the width of playfield pixels with PF Heights so that they easily kind of stack over each other. I love this character. I think she's adorable. She's beautiful. As you can see, her feet as you might be able to see on the camera there, her feet are slightly a different color. And that's going to happen with certain backgrounds. Sometimes the character will be slightly darker or lighter. I've tried to kind of cut that back as much as possible by having the part of the playfield where the characters are standing to be as wide and as detailless as possible. When I was making Street Fight World originally, 8 years ago, someone in the comments said, think Kung Fu Master, that the Kung Fu Master game that came out for the 2600, which I don't know, most people think it sucks pretty bad, but what he meant, I think, was that use a simpler color for the backgrounds so that there's not so much interference. I was trying to make Street Fighter 2 backgrounds, and you know, there was just so much layering of colors and kind of artifacting and color changing going on because of that. So in this particular case, I wanted better looking colors. I also have backgrounds I'm working on. So if I go to 5, this is a new background. Or no, that's the old one that I liked a lot. I think I moved them around. Okay, so 4 is the military one with the helicopter. I might do a different one there. 3 has been changed. 3 has actually been tied to the same PF Heights as the first couple of them. So there we have slightly different looking background. I don't know if you can even see what's going on here, but Now what I try to do is use as much of the PF heights as to eliminate lines. So when you use no blank lines, you lose one of the missiles, but it joins the color rows together. What I'm doing is using PF heights to make wide blocks of color so that there are as few lines as possible. You can see lines where the windows on the buildings are, the sides of the building on the right, and you can see lines. I don't even think you can even see. I'm barely able to see it, but these, there we go. We have a cacti, and then in front of it we have a fence. And the camera hates me for that. There we go. So we have that going on, and you can actually see the lines through those, of course. So, and then, you know, that's your iconic Atari look, where there's lines through everything and little bits and stuff going everywhere and layers of color. I'm trying to separate from that as much as possible, but there's going to be hints of it everywhere no matter what. Now the score is black because this isn't going through that menu screen where you select a character then goes to the first level. That tells it to turn the score color gold and stuff. This is for testing. Okay, so yeah, if I can go in here and just kind of now what that means is that the XY coordinate, the X coordinate for the player 1 is still there, even though it's not on the screen. So she's mirroring where player 1 would be if the Y coordinate put it there. That's interesting. And of course there's going to be different songs. I grabbed songs I'd made, was working on, and just put them in as placeholders, and I'd like to make some more catchy music. I think the best song I've got is the title song. Oh, I just changed the level. I didn't change the song. Okay, the song is Z. Okay, so we'll change that to 4. And this is the normal title screen song. So yeah, this song might have your pets freaking out, so not responsible for your pets freaking out at the music in my games. I might put a kill switch in there so that if you just can't even tolerate the music, you can just flip the black and white switch or something and it will turn the music off. I like to do stuff like that for people who just can't have music in an Atari game, you know, unless it's Pitfall, something like that. So again, this is a quick one. Thanks to anyone who's following the progress of this game. Soon I'm going to be plugging in those fighting moves and the hit bars, and try to talk over this. I'm going to be plugging in the moves, the hit bars, possibly making one more bonus scene, and then playtesting a little bit to just kind of see what can and can't happen. I'm really happy with the views and comments and stuff I've gotten. I've gotten more subscribers related to this. I'm also an animator and a guitarist, musician. I do other stuff on my channel that's kind of separate. I do a couple of personal family related things. just off on the side. I'm not an influencer, you know, so any views are greatly appreciated, and, you know, comments and feedback and stuff, greatly appreciated. Thank you very, very much for whoever is watching this, and I hope if you can learn something, if you want to program or get into making Atari games. It's so much fun, and today, in today's world, there are, you know, game making programs for almost everything. And what I want to see is a really great basic for the CDI, because it's so lacking in software, but it has so much potential, and CDs are so cheap. Getting a big spool of like 100 blank CDs and then just programming a CDI game with all kinds of great stuff going on in there, using up like a few hundred megabytes and making a great game, that's very, very tempting, and I would really love to be able to do something like that. They did that with the Jaguar, and so people can make their own Jaguar games. They did it with a lot of different systems, and today there's the NES Maker. There's a Master System building program. There's the Sega Genesis SDK, Software Development Kit. There are pretty much whatever game system you might want to try to build for, there's some kind of software development kit out there that makes it easy. You just, you know, most of it's drag and drop. You just grab your art and put it in there, and then you have to figure out a little bit here and there. What I'm doing is kind of more advanced, but also kind of simplified, I guess, basic, and coming up with as much as I can squeeze out of one of these Atari games. So yeah, thanks a lot, whoever's following.